Okay, good afternoon, Miss. My name is Noelia Baez, and this is my timeline of educational psychology. Okay, I'm going to start with the year of 1885. In this year, William Wundt founded the first institution dedicated exclusively to scientific psychology at the University of Leipzig in Germany. This date marks an important part of educational psychology because it was the date that it was established as a discipline, as a separate and distinct science from philosophy and psychology. Okay, the next date is 1890. In 1890, Will, William James, as a prominent American philosopher and psychologist, published an influential work that he called The Principles of Psychology. This book was considered one of the most important works in the history of psychology and had a significant power in the development of the discipline. Okay, the next date is 1913. In 1930, John B. Watson, an American psychologist, founded the Johns Hopkins Behavioral School at the Johns Hopkins University. The founding of this school represented a significant change in the approach of psychology, moving away from the introspection and focusing on the objective and scientific study of the observational behavior. Next, in 1920, Charles Spearman, a British psychologist, published his influential work that he called The Measurement of Mental Abilities. This book marked an important milestone in the field of psychometry and had a significant impact on the understanding and measurement of human cognitive abilities. Okay, the next date is 1930. Well, in 1930 and in 1950, it was the emergence of theories. In 1930 was the theory of social learning by Albert Bandura, and in 1950 was the emergence of the humanist theory by Abraham Maslow. But in the 1960s, Jerome Bruner, an American psychologist and pedagogue, developed a cognitive theory that he called the cognitive theory of education by Jerome Bruner. Okay, and this theory had a significant impact in the field of educational psychology and all the educational approaches. Okay, we are getting close to our date right now. Okay, in 1970, it was the creation of the theory of emotional intelligence by Peter Salovey and John Mayer. This this is like a very important part of the educational psychology because from this point and nowadays we know that the human educate have like this emotional intelligence that can or cannot improve the way that they learn. Like for example, when a person is like more sensitive or more like vulnerable, this this can make worse or better the way that they learn, and this is something that we as teachers have to you know take take note about this because this could be something that we can improve on our students or we can just pretend that doesn't exist, but it's very important, this theory of emotional intelligence. Now moving to 1990. In this year happened the foundation of the theory of social constructivism by Lev Vygotsky. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Okay. Vygotsky proposed that learning takes place within the zone of proximal development, or TPD, which is the gap between what a learner can do independently and what can they achieve from the guidance or help from a more knowledgeable individual, like the teacher. And he argued that this learning is the most effective when occurs in collaboration with others who can provide help to the learners, and can we can help them to improve their abilities or their potential to their development. Okay, now moving to the final date, 2000s. In the 2000s, there was a significant advance in all the all the history of educational psychology, because now we have this improvement that is the technology, and the technology now is all in the education. So this, from the 2000s and now, they start to introduce the technology in education, which led to an emergence of development of e-learning theory. This e-learning theory is the advent of the internet growth of digital tools and platforms that we can use to teach or to learn. But more, the e-learning is when I like teach myself, like I did to learn English. That was what I used, my computer and internet and that kind of tools. And finally, talking about the future, I didn't add a date here, but when we talk about the future in educational psychology, this will be much more taken into account in all areas of education, and it can be much better applied in all the schools, and we can reach to every student without an exception. I hope that will happen in the future about educational psychology. Okay, let me show you the references. These are the 20 references that I use to my timeline. Okay, let me, yeah, that's so much better. Okay, these are the 20 references. And yeah, that was my presentation. I hope you like it. I know I was a little too nervous this time. I don't know why, but I like doing this homework. It was pretty challenging. Okay, that's all.